morning, class. My name is Joshua Montesino. This morning, I'll be discussing performance-enhancing drugs and how it is a problem in Major League Baseball, why it's a problem, why it exists as a problem, and possible solutions to end this problem. Personally, I've encountered many situations with steroids in my lifetime before. The first time occurred when I was only 12 years old, and it was brought upon me by my own mother. She had tried to convince me to use HGH to spur the growth of my body. Obviously, I didn't say yes. And when I went to my pediatrician's appointment, he asked me, Josh, do you want a prescription to HGH? I told him no. My second occurrence with steroids was when I was a junior in high school. One of my buddies used Trenbolin, or aka Tren for short. It's a steroid used by vets to inject livestock to increase their muscle growth. He also asked me if I would try to cycle with him. I told him that I would do some research first, and after doing some research, I told myself it wasn't worth it. The short-term results were not worth the damage my body could possibly obtain. The problem that's going on in Major League Baseball right now is that the steroid era of baseball is still alive. According to ESPN, the steroid era first was born in 1980, and it died in the late 2000s. When you think of steroids, you kind of compare it with the home run ball. And the home run ball first came onto the main stage in 1996 when Mark McGwire and Ken Griffey Jr. competed to break the Roger Maris's single-season record of home runs of 67, which was set in 1961. Both would end up short. Mark McGwire 58 and Ken Griffey Jr. 56. But the next year, Mark McGwire was at it again, this time with a different foe and a different team. He was with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1997, and his foe was Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs. Both would end up breaking the record, and Mark McGwire would set a new record at 70 home runs, which would be broken later by Barry Bonds, 3 years later. Before this, it took 35 years to break the record. Barry Bonds would be arguably one of the greatest ball players of all time if it wasn't such a controversy that he had used anabolic steroids in his lifetime before. The reason why so many ball players use steroids in the major leagues and even the minors is that the competition is too high for a lot of these players, and they lack the natural talent to compete. Sometimes in the minor leagues, a lot of the other players that age and are out of the prime resort to using steroids. This affects a lot of the natural talented, young gifted athletes in the minor leagues. They are forced to use steroids as they are forced to compete with these other older, more veteran professional or minor league baseball players when they're using steroids. And it is unfair because a lot of these young talented, gifted players come from troubled backgrounds. They come from the hoods of different cities throughout America. A lot of them come from foreign countries such as the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. And the last thing they want to do is go back to their family and tell them that they failed to achieve their goal that they set out for since they were probably 9 years old. This is all they've been working for their whole entire lifetime, and they weren't able to achieve it. They weren't able to make it to the show. This would be a pretty terrible situation to put yourself in. The solution to resolve the use of steroids in baseball could be to be more strict with the disciplining of the usage of steroids in professional baseball. Currently, the suspensions are a 50-game suspension for the first occurrence, a 100-game suspension for the second occurrence, and a lifetime ban for the third occurrence. It should not take 3 times for a professional baseball player to learn to not use steroids, as this is affecting not only Major League Baseball, but America as a nation. A lot of the youth in our country idolize some of these players. Do all of you want the youth of our nation to be idolizing some cheaters? No, that's not a positive image for our country. And instead of being so lackadaisical with our suspensions, a better option would be to increase the strictness of suspensions to first-time occurrence, 162 suspension without pay, and the second occurrence being a lifetime ban. With these suspensions intact, the use of steroids should be rooted out of baseball in a shorter amount of time than what the current suspensions are. In a more personal level, what you can do to help root out steroids in our whole entire nation is to prevent high school athletes from using steroids and instead establish the ALICE programs in your high schools. The ALICE program is a program that teaches high school athletes to say no to these types of drugs, and also helps them establish and learn that a proper strength training program and proper nutrition are a better way to build your body for high school athletics than the use of steroids. In conclusion, the use of steroids should be rooted out from our national pastime and should be put aside and let our national pastime be great as it used to be when great players such as Willie Mays, Babe Ruth, and Ted Williams used to play the game for the passion of the game and not the money. And the future of our youth should be and will be steroid and performance enhancement drugs free.